You're ready.
I'm ready. Are y'all ready? Good morning, Genesis family. Please stand up and let's sing together, All Is Well. Cloudy, overcast Sunday morning with us. It's kind of calmed down the temperature, which I approve of. My name is Karen Williams, and I am a spiritual practitioner here at Genesis, and I'm your host today. Our online host is Eric, so if you're watching from Facebook, say hello to everyone in the comments. Kind of create your own community there. Let us know that you're here and what's going on with you. Every Sunday morning, we read our mission and vision statements together. So if you'll stand, that'll give a little extra power to the word. If you stand and own it, let's do this. Our mission. We are building a vibrant community, cultivating a garden of spiritual growth, honoring vulnerability, creating a safe place of comfort and peace where all are welcome and accepted. Our vision. Genesis is a bright beacon with an unshakable heart of love accepting all. A home for the soul where we each creatively express our spiritual brilliance. I hope that you get to see and experience your own spiritual brilliance today and every day. We have some announcements. We have name tags available in the back if you feel called to do that. We're still looking for greeters for the door. I can feel that. Please see Cynthia at our welcome table if you are interested, or you can email info@genesis.org, genesiscsl.org. We're grateful to have received a generous stock donation, and if you feel inspired to contribute to it, visit genesiscsl.org/donate-here to support our continued growth. We are continuing to look for volunteers. I should change those. Who can give rides to folks in our community on Sundays. Right now we know 3 people who are looking for rides on Sunday. Thomas is in Burien, Joy is in Maple Valley, and Doreen is in the Seahurst Burien area. So if you're open to helping, or if you need a ride yourself, if that's why you're not here, please email info@genesiscsl.org. We want to remove any barriers for you being in community with us. We love to see each other and be with each other.
We have a new class this fall, Spiritual Principles and Practices, a 5-week online course starting Wednesday, October 1st. Learn practical, proven spiritual tools to help you align with universal principles and manifest your intentions. 2 class times are available via Zoom, and there are no prerequisites. This is co-taught by Reverend Rose Scooter and Cynthia Z, spiritual practitioner. Our tuition for the class is $195, but we have an early bird registration of $165 if you register by September 21st. You can do that at genesiscsl.org and start living from spiritual principle. Calling all Genesis family and friends. Come build tiny homes with sound foundations. We're at it again. This will be the 3rd time for us as a group, and I love doing this, so I will be there. If I check my calendar and see that I'm available on that day, that is September 21st. September 21st, Sunday, from 2 to 6, so the after service, be able to have your snacks, grab a drink, change your clothes if you need to, and head on over to Sound Foundations in South Seattle. Not too far. If you're open to helping, or if you need a ride yourself, please email info@genesiscsl.org or sign up here at the welcome table. You may have a neighbor who just needs a lift to show up again. We want to offer that. We want to remove any barriers to people participating in the good that we help create. Our Genesis Vision continues, and it does so on the first Thursday. So this month, because we are in August already, folks, this month is August 7th. So look for the Zoom address in your emails. Our book study does meet today after service, where we read together the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. No book, no problem. We share. I actually have a couple of books if you want to purchase one, because it's a really precious book. It's a really powerful book. All right, so for our first time guests, happy first time guests. We're so glad that you're here with us this morning. We'd love to connect with you. We know everyone prefers a different method of communication, so you can fill out a connection card and drop it in the offering basket later in the service, or you can scan the QR code that lives on that card. This will open up a personal line of communication, and we want to provide you with important information to give you everything that you need to know to learn about Genesis and what we are up to. That invitation is for those of you on Facebook as well. Just introduce yourselves in our chat, or if you want to go to info@Genesis, we will hook you up. Now that we've welcomed our guest, let us welcome and greet one another. If you aren't comfortable with hugging, just stick out your hand and we'll shake it instead. Namaste hands are a great choice for contactless greeting. If you stay seated, if you prefer not to mingle, we'll recognize and respect that. So, yeah, let's do it. Stand on up. I neglected to mention that we had kind of a thing this morning before service, which is why we don't have our rug out. The floor is wet, and our cords that are usually firmly taped down, you don't really have to worry about, are not so firmly taped down this morning because of the wet floor. So please be careful when we're doing fellowship, or if you have to go to the bathroom, when you're stepping over a cord, be very mindful. And Jim says thank you very much. It would crush him if anything were to happen, so please be mindful.
It's not that my CPR card is expired, so.
Oh, mine hasn't. Mine hasn't. I'm good. It has not. You're liar. We are covered here. Silly. All right. I want to thank those who are in service today. Our setup and cleanup crew is, generally speaking, it's the people that you see at the tables this morning, right? Like, they have to be here to tape down the wires and plug everything in and set up the welcome table and set up the chairs. I'm talking about our projector and video, Eric and Mike. I'm talking about our sound tech, Jim. I'm talking about our welcome table, Cynthia, and Gideon, who does our collection. These are the people who are here first thing in the morning on the regular, making all this happen, so that Todd sounds particularly brilliant today. Todd is our musician, Todd Kimbro, if you're not familiar with him. We love having him here. We have a morning greeter, and that's Christy. And the last but not least, in vigil, whether she is presently, physically on the premises or not, is Reverend Rose. She holds vigil during service, just kind of holding us in a container of love and peace and flow. So we're very grateful to those who show up in service on Sundays. We couldn't pull all this together without you, clearly. If you would like to join this volunteer team, as I said, please reach out to Cynthia or Gideon. And then at the end, of course, we're all here together. We have fellowship together, and usually we're just helping each other and pulling up a chair and folding it up and just doing whatever it takes to take it all down again. So thank you, everybody who's in service. So we're going to move on to the next kind of part of the service, kind of prepping for Reverend James. So creating that container of open mind, open heart, clear spirit. And I'll do that together with Todd. We're going to begin with our centering song, Breathe and Turn Within. And then I will have a spiritual practice with our gong. We will strike the gong 3 times and we'll breathe together with each one. I have a reading this morning from 365, Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, my go-to, and followed by prayer. And then we'll move right into an original or a performance by Todd Kimbro. So let's turn and breathe and turn within.
I
I sing life's song of joy. You are a part of the universal mind, one with the universal substance. You live, move, and have your being in pure spirit. All the wealth, the power, and the goodness of this spirit exists at the center of your being. You experience this good in such degree as you accept, believe in, and feel it. As you enter into life, feeling the divine presence in everything, more and more you will hear a song of joy singing at the center of your being. You have only to be still and listen to this song of life, for it is always there. Say, knowing that the loving presence is always closer to me than my very breath, I have nothing to fear. I feel this loving protection around me. I know that the song of joy, of love, and of peace is forever chanting its hymn of praise and beauty at the center of my being. Therefore, I tune out of my mind all unhappy and negative ideas. I turn the dial of my thought into the sunshine of life, into brightness and laughter, into the joyous presence of radiant spirit. I lay aside all anxiety, all striving, and I let the law of divine love operate through me into my affairs. Joyfully, I anticipate greater abundance, more success, and a deeper peace. Gratitude wells up within my heart for all the blessings I am now receiving. And if that doesn't make you feel good, I don't know what will. I don't know. That was August 3rd, people. Let's pray. Knowing that there's only this one power, this one presence, this one life expressing itself as each of us, as this joy, as this wealth, as this beauty, as this peace. I accept these things as being ultimately true, despite what I might see and what I might hear. I know that underneath, that behind, at the source, behind all things, is that good thing, that unfolding of love and of perfection and of beauty and of peace and well-being. I know it. I experience it in my life. And when I find myself turning away from that, when I look at what is wrong, I acknowledge it, and I claim for myself something different. And I know that when I do that for myself, because I know that there's only one thing, there's only one being, there's only one presence, there's only one mind. I know that when I speak my word for good, when I recognize the good, the true, and the beautiful that is underlying everything, I know that I do that for all beings everywhere. And this is incumbent upon me to do that for each of us, to turn away from what disturbs us, recognizing that it does, and turning inward to source and knowing that even there, even in that place, even in that situation, even in that circumstance, that there is love underneath, there is good pushing on that, revealing it so that we can let it go, that we can see it and we know it is not the truth and we can claim the truth. The good, the true, the beautiful. That is my life. That is God's life. That is life potential everywhere. And so I send a blessing of recognition for that indwelling presence in all people who suffer this morning. And in my mind, in my heart, I say, I see you. And I know the truth about you. And I know that you are, that thing is within me too. And so I bless continuously the unfolding of good, even when it looks like what is being revealed is evil. I continue to bless the good, knowing that I can, thank God. I can. Each of us here can right now send a blessing out over the planet. And so I give thanks this morning for the opportunity to do that, to use my voice to claim what is the good, the true, and the beautiful. And I look for it. And I know that it shows up. It shows up this morning in Reverend James and what he has to give this morning, what he has to offer in the way that he does for us and for all those who are in service. It shows up as Todd Kimbro in his unique gift and style. That is God saying yes to life. And so I give thanks for all of that. I know that the continuation of this service is a continuation of the good word. And so it is. Todd Kimbro.
That was beautiful. All right. I was looking for the song that spoke the most about what this week is about. And I rediscovered this Daniel Namid song, and here we go.
I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed,
want to start today with, I'm always talking to you guys about demonstrations, how we have our prayer cards and we have a demonstration on it. And I had an interesting demonstration, an interesting prayer demonstration. And it's funny because it's not an example I would usually use. I have all kinds of spectacular examples where, you know, the laws of heaven and earth are violated in order to create good for me. And this is more ordinary. I have an old cell phone. It's several years old, and T-Mobile would like me to buy a new one, but I'm like, it still works. And then a couple days ago, it stopped working. The charging cable wouldn't go in. And so I went on YouTube, and I saw the things you do, and I used compressed air and toothpicks and all these ways of trying to clean it out, and it just wasn't working. And then I was like, maybe I have to get a charging pad or buy a new phone. And then I got a prayer call from my prayer partner. And I said, I'm going on a trip, and we should see the trip going really well. And then right at the end, I'm like, oh, wait, and my cell phone doesn't charge. Can you throw in something for that? And he did. He said, and I see your cell phone charging. And what's interesting is before that, I was feeling tense, I was feeling frustrated, I was feeling sort of downcast that it wasn't working. And as soon as he said, Reverend James's cell phone works, I immediately felt uplifted, and I got two pictures in my head. I got a picture of a particular kind of toothpick. Actually, I brought it as show and tell. This kind that has a tiny little brush at the end. And it turns out this reaches into exactly the part, that's the other thing I saw, was I saw a black piece of lint coming out of a particular part of the charger port. And then it manifested. I stuck it in, boom, big piece of lint comes out, choom. Chunk, the phone charges, and I'm happy. So it's interesting because it's so ordinary. But it's a situation where I did everything I knew how. I was feeling downcast. I was like, what's the next step? And then I was like uplifted and suddenly had this picture. And that was all it took. So notice, you know, and yet it saved me, you know, new cell phones cost a lot of money. It saved me a lot of money, and it demonstrated the power of prayer. It's more like the still small voice. I just got a little picture. And the picture was a lot like the ones I'd been watching on YouTube, except this picture was of my cell phone and my tool and my piece of lint coming out. So it could charge. Okay, so this month, the month of August, month of July, we talked about going into the deeps. And in August is all about love. Love, love, love. And Thich Nhat Hanh is the one who brings us information about love. But we've got other... Actually, I want to start off by talking about Thich Nhat Hanh. This is from Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Teachings on Love, which, if you like it, it's available from the library. I forget whether it's King County or Seattle Public, but you guys are eligible for cards for both of them. But you may not need to, because we're giving you all the important information from the books. So Thich Nhat Hanh says, the four immeasurable minds are the four elements of true love. Maitri, loving kindness, the desire to offer happiness. Karuna, compassion, the desire to remove suffering. Mudita, I've actually done sermons and workshops on mudita. It's joy. And mudita is not only finding joy in the world, but finding joy from the joy of other people. Christy was talking earlier about how much fun she had watching her grandchildren run around the art in the garden party that we were at yesterday. Where I got to be happy by feeding people. And you get to see hungry people coming up, and you get to see satisfied people going away. So joy, it's nice when you can gather joy from other people in the world. And then acceptance. He says equanimity, but I think it's more like acceptance. And this is the idea of accepting the world as it is. And there's a specific affirmation for that. Knowing that God is the source of our supply at any moment. We don't need the world to be different. So when I couldn't charge my cell phone, I'd forgotten that God was the source of my supply. But my prayer chaplain, my prayer partner called me, and I knew he was the source of my supply, because he demonstrated that. So Thich Nhat Hanh says, when you love because living beings need your love, not because somebody did something you like or they're related in some way to you, then you are loving without discrimination and practicing true love. When you dwell on these elements, you're living in the most beautiful, peaceful, and joyous realm in the universe. This really does bring you to a new realm. The four immeasurable minds of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity are the abodes of Brahma, and they offer more happiness than these. It's a 5,000-star hotel, a place where we can learn to love and be loved. So Thich Nhat Hanh, some of you may recognize him. He's the author of Jesus and Buddha as Brothers, which was our book group pick earlier this year. And it was his insight into the ways Christianity and Buddhism are similar, have practices that really enrich both of them, I think I loved. So let's go into Thich Nhat Hanh's life. He died in 2022, but he was born in 1926, so he had a very long life, and he did a huge amount of things during this very long life. He was born, he was not born Thich Nhat Hanh, he was born Nguyen Xuao Bao in October 1926 in Hue, which is in the middle of Vietnam. It's the traditional capital. He was the fifth of 6 kids. His dad was a government official, which in those days it was a French colony, so he worked for the French colonial government. And his mom was a homemaker. He and his 5 siblings grew up at Grandma's house. They lived in Grandma's house, and he grew up. And he reports that it was 7, the first time he ever saw a drawing of the Buddha. And when he saw the drawing of the Buddha, it brought him joy, peace, and happiness. And he was like, oh. And later on that year, he was on a school field trip, and they were hiking around, and he wandered off the beaten path where the other kids were, and he found a hermitage with a monk there. And he sat down and meditated with a monk and had a drink of water from the hermitage. And he felt profound peace that lasted for days. So by the time he was 16, he became a monk. And as a monk in Vietnam, if you're a monk, all the monks have the same last name, which is Thich. I guess it's the first that comes first. Anyway, they're all called Thich. And he picked his other name. The Nhat Hanh stands for right action. And so he's all about right action. He reports that as a 16-year-old monk, he was one of the first 6 monks to ride a bicycle. So he got to bicycle around when bicycles were new inventions. They were high tech in Vietnam. And people were probably saying, look at those kids on those bikes. When I was a kid, we took ox carts or walked. But no, he was one of the bicycling monks. When he completed his education, in 1955, when he was already 29, he edited a journal of Vietnamese Buddhism, And in the Journal of Vietnamese Buddhism, he advocated unification of all the different sects of Buddhism, that they all believe fundamentally the same thing and they should work together. And you see the theme, Jesus and Buddha as brothers. He's trying to unite Christianity and Buddhism. This time he started off by just trying to unite the Buddhisms in Vietnam. And the people in power didn't approve of this, and they shut down the magazine and fired him. Then he got a job teaching in Saigon, and he had lots of students. He was very popular. His lesson was, we should unify all the Buddhists because all the stuff we believe is the same and we'd be better working together. Well, they shut that down and said, you can't really work as a Buddhist monk here anymore. And so he got a Fulbright scholarship to Princeton, and he went to Princeton and studied there. And then he taught at Columbia and Cornell. And so he was teaching, of course, Buddhism and how universal it is. In 1963, when he was teaching at Columbia and Cornell, there was a coup in Vietnam, and the military took over. They deposed the civilian, democratically elected government and took over. And Thich Nhat Hanh took that moment to return to Vietnam. And he started his own Buddhist monastery, of course, called the Unified Buddhist Church of Vietnam, where he brought together Buddhists who wanted to be unified with the other Buddhists. And he started speaking about peace. Except the problem was, in early 1960s in Vietnam, if you were talking about peace, that means they thought you were a communist. It was treason. And so he was exiled from Vietnam, so he could no longer return to his home country. But what he did with his time was he went and met with Pope John Paul VI, and he convinced Pope John Paul VI to come out for peace in Vietnam. And then he came and met Martin Luther King Jr., and he convinced Martin Luther King Jr. that peace in Vietnam was a good thing. And so Martin Luther King Jr. started talking against telling people that we should have peace in Vietnam. He went to the Paris Peace Accords to talk, and it turned out at the Paris Peace Accords, both the North Vietnamese and the South Vietnamese didn't like him because he was saying, we should all get along. They're like, no, those guys are awful. He's like, come on, guys, love. So I want to talk about how his practices of love. And he writes, the Buddha taught it is possible to live 24 hours a day in the state of love. Every movement, every glance, every thought, every word can be infused with love. This is our work, consciously infusing every moment we can with love. And I want to remind you guys, some of you have heard this story and some of you haven't. It's a man called Lester Levinson, who in the 1950s was living in Manhattan. He was an engineer and a businessman, and he had a good life. He was well off. His family loved him. He had a girlfriend who loved him. His life was good, but he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, Lester, the old ticker has stopped working anymore, and you better not do any hard activities or you're just going to keel over and die. So just be careful and go home and write your last will and testament because your life is over. And Lester came home to his Manhattan apartment. He was like, man, I blew it. I thought I was doing things that would make me happy, but I can see I've been profoundly unhappy. He says, but I've always been seeking love, and I have plenty of love. And then he thought over his life, and he thought, oh yeah, the moments I've been truly happy are the moments when I've been loving others instead of being loved myself. And so he started thinking about all the people he loved and just started bringing love into his life, and love and appreciation in his apartment, and he started looking around his apartment and appreciating and loving every piece of furniture in the apartment. He loved the door, he looked out the window, he loved the stop sign, he loved the cars, he loved the sidewalks. He actually, once he was like full of love and full of energy, and he walked out the door, walked down to the street, and started loving everybody on the street, all the cars going by, and he walked around, he stayed up all night, just immersed in a cloud of love, just radiating love. And he lived 42 more years. So, so the doctor was wrong, but he loved the doctor because the doctor gave him the wake-up sign. You know, and he lived, this was acceptance for him. He accepted that the wake-up sign from the doctor was real. And so he brought that into his life. Can we have, let's say this affirmation together a couple of times. I am amazed by my journey in love today. I am amazed by my journey in love today. So this is what Thich Nhat Hanh wanted. This is when I needed to think about that because you can see he was so dead set on not having enemies and having unification through his whole life. Can we have the pictures? Yeah, there we go. So we know from Jill Bolte Taylor's whole brain living and her experience that we have parts of our brain that have different realities. And Lester was living, he had this is the part that's the fight or flight part of the brain that's just looking out and making sure that we don't die, and looking for trouble, ready to fight or flee, keeping us tense. And this is the planner. Lester had lots of things he was working on. And I'm sure Thich Nhat Hanh had lots of things he was working on too. But over here we've got, so that is the logical side of the brain. That's the side that lives in time and space. And here is the creative side of the brain. This is the side of the brain that lives outside of time and space. One of the things, a remarkable finding Jill Bolte Taylor reports, when she had a stroke, her stroke knocked her time and space part of her brain offline, so it didn't work anymore. And she found she was living in a world of eternal love where she couldn't tell the difference between her and the person next to her, or even the floor or the podium. She was just living in this state of oneness. And so the Buddha is the thinking state of oneness, where you recognize the truth that we are all one. And then this hula hooping person is it's our feeling state of wholeness, where we love whatever we're doing. This is the state you get into. We all have this all the time. This is when you get in a state of flow. You know, I used to get into that when I wrote computer programs, you know, hence my career as a software person. But people get into it running or skiing or bicycling, or Christy does it doing art. She has art and she'll go into her art and then just pick out, you know, hours will pass and she won't even know it's happened. So I like to think of Thich Nhat Hanh being on this side of his brain, you know, operating with all the parts of his brain. So he kept safe, and he kept other people safe, and he saw compassion for them, and loving kindness, acceptance, and joy. But he was living in that world of love. And there's part of our brain that lives 100% of the time in that world of love, and we just have to tune into it. So Thich Nhat Hanh, after he was exiled from Vietnam and after the Paris Peace Accords failed, there was the fall of South Vietnam, and then sadly the North Vietnamese government didn't treat everybody fairly, and a lot of people didn't want to live in a world ruled by them. And so a lot of people, there were boat people who, some of you may remember, who would go by boat trying to find other homes. And one of the places they wanted to go was Singapore, but Singapore didn't want them. They're like, no, we have enough people, we don't need you immigrants, stay home. And so they'd send out boats to sort of fend off the boat people and tell them they needed to go someplace else. what Thich Nhat Hanh did was he met up with a bunch of Buddhists there, and they made safe houses, and then they would go out at night with boats, and they'd find boat people and bring them in and get them on shore and arrange it so that they could have asylum. And it didn't take too long for the Singaporean government to find that out, and boom, he was exiled from Singapore. And that's when he went to France, and he started Plum Village, which is his monastery. It's the first of 9 monasteries that he founded. And that's where he operated from. He wrote, when he was, during this phase of his life, 130 books. So when I look for Thich Nhat Hanh books at the library, there are a lot of them. He wrote them in French and in English and in Vietnamese. He ended up, at the end of his life, in 2018, the Vietnamese government finally let him move back home. So he moved back to Vietnam, and he spent his last few years at home. And it's interesting because one of his students wanted to set up a stupa with the inscription saying, "Here lies a great man." And Thich Nhat Hanh was like, "Nah, I don't know about stupas, but definitely don't say that. What you should say is, I'm not in there." And he said, maybe you can have another plaque that says, "I'm not out there either." And then maybe a third plaque that says, "If you want to find me in your breath and in the trees and as you walk down the street." And so this is his spirit. This is what he advocates. And so what I want to advocate for you is, look out when you feel the love. Radiate love. If you're feeling a lack of love, know that the love begins with you. And this is one of the reasons when we do our meditations, our heart meditations will often start with appreciation, because it brings you into the present moment, which is this part of the brain appreciates the present moment, and see what right now do we appreciate? Not what's going to happen in 10 minutes or tomorrow or next week or yesterday. What's happening right now that you can appreciate? And that brings us into our creative mind, into the world of love that we live in. We can have compassion for other beings. And compassion, I want to emphasize more, my own view is that most of us need more compassion for ourselves. We are often harder on ourselves than we are on most other people in the world. And so self-compassion, look out for 2, acceptance of the world. And the last one I want to give you as homework. And it's joy. Search for joy. When you first get up in the morning, say, I wonder what joyful thing is going to happen today. What will bring me joy? And any moment when, especially if you're tense, think, what will bring me joy today? And then notice what brought you joy. It could be that you got joy because somebody else was happy and you got the mudita, the joy from seeing somebody else happy. So let's go into our hearts for a moment. Let's take a deep breath and exhale. And let's open our hearts to appreciation. What brings you joy now? What do you appreciate right now? What is love telling you now? And feel that love radiate. Fill the heart, fill your body, fill the room, fill time and space. Surround and interpenetrate every cell. And just allow yourself to lean back and rest in that love, in that peace, in that joy. And know that is all you. You and me, we are together in love, and joy and connection. And we can have peace. We can be kind. We can have compassion for ourselves and others. And we can know that God is our source. And as we accept God as our source, our reality shifts to the truth of who we are. And knowing that we live in a loving, beloved universe that is watching out for us. So whenever you're ready, take another breath and exhale and open your eyes whenever you're ready. And we'll say our affirmation a couple of times again. I am amazed by my journey in love today. I am amazed by my journey in love today. And keep going on your journey to love by looking for joy, knowing that joy is on its way to you. It has probably already found you, and you just need to spot it. So, and now comes to the time for our prayer demonstration, and I know I'm writing mine because I have a cell phone that charges. And then on the other side, write a prayer. A prayer could be for yourself, a prayer of gratitude, a prayer of need, a prayer for someone else. Those prayers powerfully go into universal mind, where they manifest for everyone's benefit. And now we will have more Todd.
All right, well, when I first heard the topic, the first song that popped into my mind was this.
Done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. No one you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be when in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. There's nothing you can know that isn't known. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. Thank you for the horn part, yes. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. All you need is love, everybody. All you need is love, all together now. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. 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 Love is all you need.
Dun, 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 dun. That's great. So we filled out our little yellow card. Now we're going to get to the white envelope. Genesis is a community dedicated to love, inspiring harmony, and creating connections to empower spiritual growth. And we love that you're here to share in that with us. This is an invitation to participate in circulation, to connect with abundance and generosity. Your participation makes all of this possible. We truly appreciate your support, so please take a moment to craft your financial gift here. If you are on Facebook, please visit our website at genesiscsl.org, or you can text your tithe to 206-800-7595. So before we go, I'd like to read this one little sentence from what I read today again. Again. I know that the song of joy, of love, and of peace is forever chanting its hymn of praise and beauty at the center of my being. I'm going to repeat it because you might not have appreciated it deeply. We're going deeper. I know that the song of joy, of love, and of peace is forever chanting its hymn of praise and beauty at the center of my being. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. I love it, I love it, I love it. So, that was me saying thank you for being here. I appreciate you all very much. I love my community, and I think you love it too. So please stay for fellowship afterwards. Fellowship was, snacks were provided for, we're gonna
we're gonna do all of that because we have to collect our offering. I just got into the chanting nature of my being, and I just want to go and fellowship now. We're not done yet. Okay, thank you for being with me. Please. You betcha. You can count on me. If you feel called to, please put your offering and your prayer next to your heart as we say our offering prayer together. Thank you. Blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am thankful. I am truly thankful. Thank you. Gideon is going to come around and collect our offering while we sing Stepping into the Flow.
I'm stepping into the flow, giving and receiving the blessings that I know. I'm a part of something bigger in all of all I am. So grateful. I'm stepping into the flow. I'm stepping into the flow, giving and receiving the blessings that I know. I'm a part of something bigger in all I am. So grateful. I'm stepping into the flow. So grateful, I'm stepping into the flow.
So I give thanks today for the way that we have stepped into the law of circulation. And as we give, so shall we receive, pressed down, multiplied, and overflowing into the life of Genesis, into our individual lives, and into all life everywhere. And so it is. And so, thanks for joining us today. I want to read you this one thing over. Oh, yes. Snacks today were provided by our care circle, God Inform. Please enjoy. And we're going to stand together and sing our closing song, I Release.
Yes,